Your cat just destroyed the couch, knocked over the vase, scratched the door, and when you look at him expecting some reaction, he gives you a completely blank stare. Most people call this arrogance, indifference, proof that cats simply don't care about anyone. But there is another explanation, one that completely changes the way you see every behavior of your cat after a conflict. Because cats do apologize, they just do it in a way that 80% of owners never learn to recognize. And the problem is that some of these signals are so subtle, so different from everything we associate with an apology, that most people not only ignore them, but punish the cat exactly at the moment he is trying to reconnect. What is behind this behavior? Why do cats communicate reconciliation in such a different way from humans? And what happens when you respond the wrong way, or simply don't respond? That's what this video will answer.
The problem: why your cat seems not to care. You come home, the couch is destroyed, the curtain is on the floor, your favorite vase is in pieces. The culprit is obvious, and he's sitting there, staring at you with that empty expression, as if absolutely nothing had happened. Most people interpret this as carelessness, as arrogance, as proof that cats simply don't care about what they do. But what if the problem isn't the cat? What if it's you who doesn't know how to read what he's trying to say? Because here's what almost nobody tells you: cats don't feel guilt the way humans do. And that's not a character flaw, it's biology. To feel guilt, a being needs to have moral awareness. It needs to understand that an action was wrong, and cats simply don't have that structure. Scratching the couch, bringing a live rodent through the door, biting your ankle as you walk down the hallway. For your cat, none of these behaviors is a transgression. They're instincts. They're completely normal things that he doesn't see as wrong. It's like apologizing for breathing. It doesn't make sense to ask for forgiveness for something you don't know is forbidden. Cats use feline apology body language to de-escalate tension, not out of guilt, Dr. Karen Sueda. In other words, what looks like indifference isn't indifference. It's another language, one that 80% of owners have never learned to read. And here's the real problem. If you don't learn this language, you'll keep missing all the moments when your cat tries to reconnect with you. Worse, you might be punishing him exactly when he's trying to apologize. So how does a cat actually apologize? What are these signals that go unnoticed every day? That's what you're about to discover now. The signs: how your cat actually apologizes. Signal 1. The slow blink. Have you ever caught your cat staring at you after doing something wrong, and then, slowly, he closed his eyes? Most people think this is indifference, but what's happening inside your cat's brain in that moment is far more complex than it seems. When your cat senses tension in the environment, you raised your voice, your posture changed, the atmosphere got heavy, his amygdala triggers a stress response. Instinct says run or freeze, but instead of running away, he stays, looks at you, and deliberately closes his eyes. Think about what that means: a predator choosing to become blind in front of a potential threat. That's not casual, it's a calculated emotional risk. In feline language, prolonged eye contact is a threat. A slow blink is the opposite. It's the cat saying, "I am not a threat. I trust you." After a conflict, this gesture is a white flag. And the response you give will change your cat's body chemistry. When you blink back, his tension drops. When you ignore it or remain irritated, his brain registers repair attempt failed. If your cat keeps slow blinking after conflict and never receives a blink back, over time he stops trying. He doesn't escalate, he simply goes quiet. And that silence isn't peace. It's a cat that has given up trying to apologize to you. Signal 2, the headbutt. You're on the couch, still a little irritated, and suddenly your cat approaches and presses his head into your face, your hand, your arm. Most people laugh and think the cat just wants attention, but what's happening in that moment goes beyond affection. Cats have scent glands concentrated in the forehead, cheeks, and chin. When they press their head into you, they're depositing pheromones onto your skin. The behavior is called bunting. During a calm moment of the day, it's affection, but when it happens right after a conflict, the meaning changes completely. Your cat can literally smell the tension. Stress hormones alter your scent, and for an animal that relies on smell the same way we rely on facial expressions, that shift signals that the bond has been disrupted. So he approaches and remarks you. It's not just affection, he's overwriting the tension with his own scent, restoring the chemical signature that tells his brain, this person is still mine, and I am still theirs. What makes this even more powerful, cats may bunt strangers in casual moments, but when it happens specifically after you scolded him, after your voice rose, that's not random, it's intentional. Signal 3, the gift. You're upset with your cat and suddenly you find a toy next to your hand, on the couch, on your lap, near your feet. Most owners toss it aside or assume the cat wants to play. But what if your cat just handed you the most valuable thing he owns and you simply threw it away? Cats are not like dogs. They don't fetch a ball to please you. When a cat brings you something, there is always a reason. And when that object appears right after a period of tension, behaviorists describe it as a reconciliation offering, a behavior observed in social animal dynamics. He's not asking to play, he's offering something valuable to restore the relationship. Think from your cat's perspective. He has a favorite toy, the one he carries around, hides, sleeps beside, and in the middle of an emotional conflict between you two, he picks up that toy, walks over to you, and places it at your feet. A 2024 study found that 65% of owners receive these apology gifts after scolding their cats. This isn't random, it's sacrifice. He's giving you the one thing that brings him comfort, hoping it will bring comfort to you as well. Signal 4, the licks. Your cat jumps onto your lap right after a conflict and starts licking your fingers, your chin, your nose. Most people assume it's just a quirky cat habit, but there's a specific reason this behavior appears after conflicts. In cat colonies, mutual grooming, called allogrooming, is one of the most important social behaviors. And here's something almost nobody knows. Cats don't do this with any group member. Studies with wild colonies show that grooming is highly selective. Cats only lick individuals with whom they have a strong social bond. It's not hygiene, it's a relationship maintenance and tension reduction tool within the group. And there's a detail that makes this even deeper. When cats groom each other to resolve tension, researchers observed that it lowers the heart rate of both individuals involved, which means when your cat licks your hand after a conflict, his own body is calming itself through the act of repairing the bond with you. It's not just emotional, it's physiological. Apologizing to you is literally his way of self-regulating. Signal 5. Staying nearby in silence. After something tense happens, you start noticing that your cat simply appears wherever you are. He doesn't meow, doesn't rub against you, doesn't ask for food. He just sits in the same room and watches from a distance. Most people don't even register this, but this is one of the most misunderstood apology signals of all. Cats are solitary by nature. When they want space, they disappear. They have no problem leaving any situation, any person, any room. So when a cat does the opposite, when he follows you from the kitchen to the bedroom to the bathroom without making a single sound, that's not clingy behavior. It's a deliberate decision to stay close during emotional discomfort. Behavioral researchers describe this as proximity maintenance, a strategy also observed in strongly bonded primates after conflicts. Instead of vocalizing or making physical contact, the individual simply reduces distance and waits. If you think about it, humans do the same thing after a fight with someone they love. Sometimes we don't say anything. We just sit in the same room, make a coffee, exist nearby.
No words, no grand gestures, just presence. Your cat is doing exactly that, and the fact that an animal that could simply walk away and be perfectly fine alone is choosing to stay quietly beside you says everything about what you mean to him.
How you should respond. Now you know what your cat is saying. The question is, what do you do with that? Because the wrong response undoes everything. Punishing the cat after he has already shown reconciliation erases his effort and increases stress for both of you. Forcing contact while he is still calibrating the distance can escalate the conflict again. Ignoring the signals prolongs the tension for no reason. And the most common mistake of all? Seeing the belly exposed after a tense moment and instinctively lowering your hand to rub it. The cat scratches, the owner gets offended, and what was an offer of vulnerability becomes, in the cat's eyes, a betrayal. He wasn't asking to be touched, he was asking to be forgiven. The right response is simpler than it seems. Relax your posture. Lower your tone of voice. If he slow blinks, blink back. You'll be speaking his language. Let him approach at his own pace without forcing contact. When he comes closer, reinforce it with something positive. A scratch behind the ear, a treat, a play session with a wand toy. Observe your cat's unique habits. Individual personalities matter more than breed. By Dr. John Bradshaw. Every cat has its own dialect. Yours might prefer to sit quietly beside you. Another might push his favorite toy onto your lap. Another might lick your hand for 5 minutes straight. There is no universal signal. There is your cat's pattern. And when you start recognizing that pattern, everything changes. Because in the end, what looked like indifference was an entire language you just hadn't learned to hear yet. Every headbutt, every strange gift, every slow blink after a disagreement, every time he quietly appears in the same room as you, all of it is your cat saying the same thing in the only way he knows how. We're still a family.